a virtual event coming up on May 21st. If you haven't reserved your ticket yet, make sure you head on over to employerbrandingexp.com, reserve your seat while they are still there. Today, I'm joined by my good friend Craig Fisher, who is one of our speakers at this event. And Craig, just tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're going to be talking about at Employer Branding EXP.
Thanks, Michael. Great to see you. Great to be here, everybody. I am a consultant in the recruiting space, and I do talent operations, talent attraction, candidate experience, employer brand, recruitment marketing. I'm a broker to a lot of recruitment marketing agencies, and I'm a fractional CMO to a lot of HR technology companies. I run the TalentNet Live conferences since 2009 in Texas, twice a year. And I've written a couple of books recently talking about some of the case studies that I do with large employers. I mostly work with Fortune 500 and really Fortune 50 type organizations. And then a second book that's just come out geared towards the job seeker and anyone really looking for their next gig, or if they're in consulting or an entrepreneur, this book's good for just attracting your audience.
Got it right here.
Yeah.
Paint your store. All right. Yeah, you can get this on Amazon, and I'll make sure to have the links in the comment section so they can get your book on Amazon or the notes section. Anyways, I was looking through the book. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't finished reading it yet, but one of the things that you mentioned in there were job seekers were frustrated with talent acquisition or recruiters in general just because they've been ghosted, or they haven't been getting interviews, or just getting rejected right before they even get an interview, or just a lot of lack of response from recruiters. Because of this event that we're having, and it's employer branding, but how can employer branding and recruiters improve the candidate experience for those who maybe aren't getting, an interview?
Yeah. So if you ask me, it starts way before any of that happens, right? It starts with the job description. Let's go that far back, right? And then how does that job come out of your applicant tracking system? And is it easy to apply? And right, all of these things. But in the job description itself, you should be speaking to the candidate, right? Don't just talk about the company. And that's kind of the best first impression that you can give. Be more interested in your audience than you are in talking about yourself. And then really you want to set the stage for what to expect in the process, right? If you get a lot of candidates applying and you can't respond personally to them all, let the people who are applying to those jobs know that, right up front on your careers site. And give them the idea that, look, we appreciate you, we value you, thank you for taking the time to do this. We may or may not get back to you in a timely manner for these reasons, but we're going to do our best, and we appreciate you being here.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah. Just to kind of talk about the past a little bit, there was a period of time when you could just pick up a phone and get in touch with a recruiter if you applied to a position. And nowadays, things have changed quite a bit. And I know you speak at a lot of conferences and you give a lot of great insights on tools and technology platforms that are out there for recruiters and how they can streamline their process. And now we're talking a lot about AI and automation and making it more efficient. But what's the one type of technology or platform that you like, right now?
Mm-hmm. So I like any technology that makes the apply process better for candidates, right? So in theory, I just read that Workday may be doing social sign-on in order to apply for a job later this year. That's interesting to me, right? Because it's way better than their process now, where you have to go log in, and somehow the system seems to forget who you are half the time, and it's very difficult to follow up with multiple employers that all use Workday, for instance. So any technology that makes that process easier and builds a bridge between the job link, the apply link, and the ATS, I think is really good. HireEZ just released their Agentic AI recruiter helper, and it's very interesting, and it does a lot of good things to help you communicate with candidates better and have a more timely response and a personalized experience with your candidates. And so I'm very interested in that. It's really cool. I would highly recommend go read about it at the HireEZ website. I'm a big fan of that. And I do some interesting work with a little company called Connect, CNECT, and they're one of these bridge builders that makes it real easy for a candidate to have a home and easily apply to other applicant tracking systems.
Yeah, I know there's definitely been a lot of changes there over the years. We've seen applicant tracking systems get a little bit better for the job seeker, making it easier for them to create an account. And that's kind of cool what you were talking about Workday. So hopefully that will happen maybe this year. Let's pivot for a second to talking about right now, like the economy, the job market. And actually the job market's been down for the last couple of years, and we kind of are still in that rut. Because we're in this state of flux, especially for recruiting, when hiring starts to pick up, right, and hopefully it will, maybe this year or maybe it won't. But what are some things that companies can do, like right now, to prepare for when they really are going to start hiring again?
Right. So the trend has been, because we're being force-fed AI by HR technology vendors, to say, look, you don't really need all these recruiters because you can automate all these processes. That's not really going to work out in the long run. We've already found that there's pushback when candidates have too much automation and not enough human interaction. And so you get drop off, you get ghosting, and there's all kinds of two-way street things happening. Also, candidates are optimizing their resumes for specific jobs with AI, and most employers' jobs aren't AI ready. And so the matching technology that's going on inside the job boards and Indeed and other job boards and inside the ATS or CRM is almost too good for some of these legacy job descriptions that employers still have out there. So looking at your job descriptions is really important, because if you're not AI ready and AI SEO ready, right, so it's basically a search engine, you're going to have some issues. Then also, don't get rid of all your people, right? Your recruiting staff is important. Human hiring is a human endeavor, right? And so we can't just have a zero friction process because people don't believe it. It's too easy. If it's too easy, if there's no friction and there's no human interaction, people don't believe it's true. And so this frictionless process that we've been sold on for years is not really working out.
Yeah, I know. And I think there's probably a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt with job seekers out there. And I know you talked about that in your book. One of the things that you also talked about is salary negotiations. And I was going to pivot here for a second, because when you talk about salary negotiation, there's something that gets like in your stomach, your gut. It's like a sinking feeling. Oh, I got to do this whole negotiating thing. And I'm talking just, with the job seekers, I'm talking about recruiters too, right? Mm-hmm. But we look at salary today, we're putting it back into the job description. And I know years ago, we took it out because it was a way to stay competitive. You didn't want your competitors knowing what you were offering. And so now companies are going back to the drawing board when it comes to salary, and asking it right up front, putting it in the requirements when people apply to or when candidates apply to a position. Just curious, there's two maybe factions around this when you're having a salary requirements on the job and then asking candidates about their salary. Where do you stand with companies with their applicant tracking system requiring salary information from their applicants?
Mhm. So there's a few things involved, right? So there's all this pay transparency legislation. Companies are getting sued if the wages that appear on their job advertisements aren't in line with the market, right? And so if you don't put a number there as an employer and Indeed guesses for you and it's not accurate based on other people you've paid for that same role or what the market says it should be, then you're actually liable. And so you really have to look at all of that. There are companies who will audit that for you and kind of keep you steady on a regular basis. I'm one of them, so call me. But then also, if you're not asking candidates for a number to start with, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. I don't think it's a problem. And if you are a job seeker, here's an inside tip. Do some research, figure out what the lowest level of salary might be for that job, and put that number right in there if you want to get an interview. And here's why. You can also put on your resume, here's the pay range that I'm looking for, right? And there's no reason not to do that. So if there's not a place for notes or something like that in the application process, then put it right on your resume. You're going to customize it for that job anyway if you're doing it right. And so just because you put the lowest number, it might just pass you through some filters that get you to an interview. But that doesn't mean you're stuck with that.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I know in the recruiters definitely look at salary, and if it's out of that range, they won't call you, right? So you're better off trying to put that minimum in there to get the recruiter to at least, or somebody from talent acquisition to reach out to you.
You want to
But
have
this
the
is
conversation, right? I mean, you want to be able to talk about it. And I get interviewed for jobs all the time that I'm overkill for, and I know it. And so I'll tell the recruiter, look, this job is going to pay this, and here's the reporting structure, here's what the organization is probably going to look like, and you're looking for someone that's got 3 years experience, and they're like, how do you know all this? I'm like, yeah, everybody knows this. It's not rocket science, right? But I can help you still, right, as a consultant. And so job seekers, here's another tip. If you're not the right fit for the actual role, but you're good at doing all the things for that role, offer your services to help ramp up the person who they do hire and even identify the person who they do hire.
That's good advice. Yeah, I know. Try to do something that can get you your foot in the door, right? And you may not be a fit for the opportunity, but to kind of go back to that whole salary negotiating piece, right? When I mentioned that earlier, maybe putting it on on the website or the application process just makes it easier for everybody, because then right? There's no kind of going back and forth. This is kind of where this person's at. This is where the company's at. And maybe you can just find a common ground and not waste people's time. Because, we all know that sometimes companies, definitely in the past have gone, oh, maybe this might be a better for everyone and better for the reputation of the company and the employer brand, right?
Right.
So yeah, just exciting stuff. So hey, you know what? We're almost at time here, and it's been great talking with you. Looking forward to you at Employer Branding EXP. For those that are watching, hope that you got your ticket, because we're going to be running out here pretty soon. It's May 21st. Before we leave, though, Craig, tell us how can people that are watching this or watching this later, how can they get in touch with you and follow you?
Right. So the easiest way is through my book page, and that's also at my company website, which is talentnetlive.com, and the books are at hiring-humans.com. And I'm easy to find, so please connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter and X and all the places.
All right, awesome, good stuff. All right, sir, we'll see you May 21st. And thanks for joining us, and thank you for those that are watching.
Thanks,
See you
Mike.
soon. All right, just gonna give it a minute to, should upload in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep,